Well, J.J. Abrams has started a Twitter account. Now, this was really surprising, and if I didn't see the verified there, I would never have believed it. But yes, he's on Twitter. I think he's done one post. He spoke about completing his first day of filming yesterday. He thanked Ryan Johnson. Of course, he's going to thank Ryan Johnson because at the end of the day, he didn't mention Ryan Johnson. People would have said, you see, he's not happy with what he did with The Last Jedi. I think we're heading to a situation where J.J. Abrams will become Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm. It's a position he doesn't want. He didn't want to come back and do this. He wanted to do The Force Awakens, then toodle off. He just wanted to start the thing. But unfortunately, he started something that he can only continue to do. The Force Awakens is a really good Star Wars film. Is it a perfect Star Wars film? No, there's no such thing as a perfect Star Wars film. We can nitpick. I mean, I wasn't happy that we saw 30 seconds of Luke Skywalker. But if he wrote and directed The Last Jedi, it would have been fine and everybody would have been happy. The situation with The Last Jedi isn't Ryan Johnson's fault. He was given control of something and he wanted to make it his own. Now, whether we like it or not, we can't blame him. All he can do is be Ryan Johnson. The mistake here was that J.J. Abrams wasn't in charge of this trilogy from 1, 2 and 3 from the beginning. Do you understand? This was the mistake here. And if J.J. wasn't committed enough to do the 3 films, because J.J.'s got a lot of fingers in a lot of pies, he should never have been involved with The Force Awakens from the beginning, because The Force Awakens is J.J. Abrams' DNA. And we were all so excited what it could have all meant for the next 2 movies. So I hope they can persuade J.J. to be Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm, because I think it will really work. I really liked The Force Awakens, and I think it was J.J. who should have wrote and directed Episode 8, Episode 9. So that's what I think. And so this is where the mistake was made, and this is where we got ourselves in trouble. And then The Last Jedi splits the fandom, and it's been so negative. It's been so negative because J.J. Abrams is really clever. So, for example, Disney want diversity in all their movies now, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the way that Ryan Johnson did it was very clumsy, and it triggered a lot of people. Now, J.J. Abrams has experience of this within Star Trek, because Star Trek, the difference between Star Trek and Star Trek is already very diverse. Gene Roddenberry was, light years ahead of his own time. But what J.J. did, when you look at what he did with Uhura, he really made her central to the plot, and it really worked. Nobody complained, and it was played really well, and it was written really well. If you do these things properly, no one's going to complain. It's the way you go about being creative. And I think the first Star Trek film was amazing. And I quite enjoyed the next one, Star Trek Into Darkness. I know a lot of people were triggered by that one as well. But I thought it was very un-Star Trek, but it was still a very enjoyable film as far as I'm concerned. And again, JJ walks away, doesn't make the third film, and then you've got problems there. JJ needs to commit himself to something. As I say, his problem is he's got so many fingers in so many pies, he's got no time. I think his strengths are in TV. What he did with Alias, and while he was on Lost, what he did with that, and he co-created that show, that was genius. So he's a very talented man. Now, however I feel about The Last Jedi, and I'm not one of the ones who screams and shouts about it, but I certainly was underwhelmed by the film. I think we need to be positive. I think we need to back JJ, because as far as I'm concerned, he's done nothing wrong. He's made the odd statements that have kind of triggered some people, but at the end of the day, we have to move on from that. Do we care about Star Wars? Why has J.J. Abrams set up a Twitter account? He's not going to talk to other verifieds. He's not going to talk to the fans. He's going to post on-set videos and on-set pics to really get the excitement up. You're going to see him in interviews. He's really going to try and put a positive spin on Star Wars, and he's really the only man who can do it, because we have this kind of respect for JJ, and he's a man, as a fellow creative, he's a man I've really looked up to. He's one of the reasons that inspired me to get into this industry. So J.J. Abrams has always been really important to me. So as a Star Wars fan now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to forget the negativity of Solo. I'm going to forget the negativity of The Last Jedi and just really be excited about Episode 9, because he can really set this thing on a better course. He can. It can still, Star Wars can be saved, and it does need saving. The last film, Solo, A Star Wars Story, was a flop. It cannot be spun. It can't be turned around to look like a positive. Some people liked it. It was okay. I didn't hate that film, by the way. I just think the negativity from The Last Jedi just spilled over. JJ's back now. I cross my fingers he will be Chief Creative Officer of Lucasfilm, as they keep on saying. And maybe he could be the Chief Creative Officer, and then, Dave Filoni can be underneath him. There needs to be a team here. I'm not one of those people who necessarily wants Kathleen Kennedy to leave. I think she's a very clever business lady, and I think she's earned her position at the company. But certainly, creatively, she has no idea, let alone run one film, let alone a franchise. No way. She's a businesswoman. She can do well. That's fine. Keep her in the background. That's okay. She's not really someone who actually needs to speak. She's a businesswoman. She can do the right things in the business sense. But someone like J.J. Abrams, someone like Dave Filoni, that's a team. That's a great creative team. He has to focus and stay somewhere, JJ. He can't keep on moving about. There's a lot of stuff that people get confused about sometimes, produced by J.J. Abrams. But he has no actual input in the stories, but his name's there to sell the product. This is JJ's moment to stay there. He left Star Trek, which I thought was wrong. I mean, coming to Star Wars, for me, I don't understand this. His company literally run Star Trek, right? It was his baby. Now, if he left it to run the whole of the Lucasfilm Star Wars franchise, I could have understood it. But he bailed from Star Trek to do one Star Wars movie, which I never got. So from the moment I knew he was only going to do The Force Awakens, I was very concerned. I don't like this idea of bringing one director and another one in. I mean, it can work for some franchises, but I think for Star Wars, you need one mind. But as I say, Dave Filoni and J.J. Abrams can really, really do something special. I'm pleasantly surprised he's on Twitter. I quote tweeted him. I was very positive, and I said, let's bring that Force Awakens positivity back. You didn't like The Last Jedi. We've got to let it go at some point, and we've just got to trust JJ now. And hey, if Episode 9 isn't a good movie, then we can look at that. But I don't believe that Episode 9 will be a bad movie. Episode 9 has to be a fantastic movie. I think in terms of JJ and Lucasfilm now, don't mention The Last Jedi. We know you support Rian Johnson. He's a fellow creative member of yours. Of course, you're going to back him. And I totally understand that. And I think that Rian Johnson's a talented guy. I just think he shouldn't have been put in charge of a Star Wars movie for so many different reasons. But JJ can still be diverse, but do it in a more tactful way. Unfortunately, there are people who don't like diversity, but you still need their money. It's about being smart business people. And thus far, Kathleen Kennedy and company haven't been very smart. The things I see Lucasfilm employees saying are just ridiculous. Think it, don't say it. Everyone in the industry understands diversity is a good thing, but do it in the correct manner. We want to educate people. We want to live in a global world rather than building a wall and hiding in our own countries. That's what I believe in as well. So I believe in diversity. I believe in equality, but it's got to be done in the right way. It's about educating people, not talking down to them, not force-feeding people. You've got to be clever in life. So yes, I'm happy J.J. Abrams is on Twitter. I'm happy he's in charge of Episode 9. I believe it can be a great movie. We just need to move on now. Forget about our hate for The Last Jedi. We can't keep on going at this forever. I agree with a lot of what some people say about The Last Jedi, but it's time to move on. It's done. It's dusted. No, I don't want to see a remake of The Last Jedi. It's over. Get over it. Just get over it. We're getting Clone Wars. They're trying to put it right. They know mistakes have been made publicly. It's like the DCEU, because when you see people making an effort to repair situations, you back them. J.J. Abrams directing and writing this movie is a very positive step. So I'm really, really excited. And Chris Terrio is co-writing this film as well with JJ. That's exciting. I'm a fan of Batman v Superman. A lot of people who didn't like that film are going to say, "Oh no, this is problematic." Give it a chance. What I hate these days is prejudging a film before we've seen a trailer or the actual film, or even judging a film on marketing is stupid. Just give the film a chance. You go on opening night, you don't like it, don't buy the Blu-ray, don't back it. We don't have to be toxic. It doesn't have to be negative. But back Star Wars. You want to see Star Wars? Back this film. And if they let us down again, by all means, turn your back on it. But I'm excited, and I hope we get an awesome movie. And I just can't wait to see JJ tweeting about the whole thing. We'll speak again. Have a good day. Keep your mouth big.